Hello, Dr. Mike here with a quick look at the Digital Forensics Framework for my Introduction to Forensics courses, specifically CIS-2808 for Sinclair. And this is currently, at the time of this recording, under Topic 9, Week 9. We start looking at computer forensics tools. And then we have I have a different video that I go over just a small variety of the tools that are out there. This is really specific to the Digital Forensics Framework tool, the open source tool that we explore during the course. So there is a lab you will do. Again, this might change in the future, but currently it has a few screenshots here, and you can see you can open up DFF. I'm not going to go through how to open, how to attach. It's what the lab's going to do. I'm just going to show you some different ways you can employ DFF. So here we can see, though, it does take on the E0 evidence file format. So you can do raw format, .dd, AFF, and EFW. This is the sort of format, basic evidence formats that works with a lot of different tools. So DFF will work with that. So again, this is currently using the Deft OS, which I have a copy of running here. I'll show you. And you can see you can open up. There'll be several parts of the file. It's going to depend on the size of the capture. So it's not uncommon to see them spliced into 2 GB sizes. It could be one large file. So in any case, the lab's going to walk you through how to open, how to view the partition, and how to actually start looking at the partition and files. So the lab leaves you off with looking at analyzing partition information, like the master file table, which is good. And you can definitely get to the information, especially for NTFS. The example I'm going to show you, though, is going to take you away from this a little bit and have you explore some other parts of Deft. I'm sorry, not Deft, but the Digital Forensics Framework. So just to begin here again, Chapter 9, there's a section on Digital Forensics Framework. It gives you some good information, some usage, a few screenshots, and so on. So definitely refer to the textbook, file system browsing, statistics, and so on. So I'm not going to go into the textbook here. It is a good reference for that. Another thing you can do also is look at the calitools.org or tools.cali.org. This is a great website, by the way. Kali, be thinking Kali being, the hackers. Hackers a distro, Linux distro, and it sort of is, and pen testing hacking, but it has a full forensic suite. So if you happen to have Kali as your main workstation, it should have this built in already. But also you can go here, even if you're not using Kali, like I'm not, or I'm using a copy of Deft. But the Kali Tools has a list of tools, their homepage, any kind of like repo, in case you want to go look at the updated repository. See when it was last updated. In this case, not for a while, it looks like. Notes, information from the developer, and also a lot of times you'll get a quick, like how to use it, tools included, and sometimes you even get screenshots. So not too much here, but it's a good place at least to check into it, and you can see what it can do. So it helps with zero chain of custody, access to local remote drives. You can read standard images. VMware compatible, Windows and Linux registry, and so on. So again, it's a nice way at least to get a summary of DFF outside the textbook. So again, this is the tools.kali.org. If you were to go here, this is a great way to figure out what all those tools I have, what do they even mean? And it is bundled by area in this case. Again, we can see here is DFF under the Forensics Tools section. So again, I've already opened. I have downloaded these 4 files, varying from 1.1 megabyte to 160 megabytes in size, of a bootable USB drive. And I got this from a website that you can get, digicorp.org disk images. So these are just test images. You can use scenarios and so on. Just a little background where I got this from. Again, digitalcorpa.org, Corpa disk images. So with this evidence, I went through the process. Like you'll see in the lab, I attached this and opened this evidence up. And it was an ext volume. So again, this is the DFF framework here, main GUI. A couple things here is to keep an eye on the task manager down below. If you're using a virtual machine that has limited memory, I find myself clicking and not being patient and find out that it's still running a process. So if I try to open something and I think it's not working. In any case, the task manager is pretty handy to have. Also, you have any errors, you can view those here. There is a preview which will change, but really I think task manager is a nice little thing to have open. And you can see what I've been doing here. I actually tried to open a SQLite DB file, and I'll actually show you that file. I ended up extracting, unbeknownst to me, all the files, which I didn't mean to. So if you click on that and you do an extraction, you get all the files and folders. So, which is fine. I had the space on this deft install. I have a attached local drive of like 8 gigabytes. I attached to evidence. I just dumped stuff there, even though it's sort of a bootable OS right now. I do have that directory I've sort of attached, formatted. I partitioned, formatted it, and then attached it. So under a thing called /evidence under root. So again, that's some background on how I set it up here. So you'll see a bunch of stuff, but best part is we can actually start going through and we can actually browse the evidence, and this is fine because this is a copy of an evidence. So these are copies of the original evidence files. In this case, the bootable USB. And so we can go into Home Ubuntu and we can start browsing into files or history. And again, so now we're getting into the actual artifacts. So we can go into Firefox, and Firefox has usually some weird for this history. And I don't want to get into browser history. We're going to do a separate video on that. But you can see here, this is the root evidence. This is actually mounted. I mounted 8.6 gigabyte partition that's under the virtual drive that I created. Again, this is a bootable OS. But here, unbeknownst, I extracted everything. But I was able to extract, and then when I extracted it, went to the root directory that I extracted to, which is root evidence. But things like the SQLite database, so the places.SQLite, which we find here. So we actually get, sometimes you'll actually get ext information. You might be able to get hashing information in the side panel here. In this case, I actually can open it and I can actually view it. So now we have, an actual artifact extracted from an image that we can look for certain evidence. So in this case, if we think the suspect may have been browsing or using the web to download or get to hack into and get illegal records. So we can build a timeline of browsing history here. So I was able to extract that information and get that here. So we also look at files. In this case, we have this directory here on files, documents, my stuff, product grants, so documents, hacks. So this product grants, info exchange.matrix. We can see information about the fragment size, file size, and so on. Again, the detailed information here about the file that is basically statted from the Linux file system, or if it's NTFS, it will gather the different information based on the file system. You can open this, you can right click. A lot of times it will pick what's currently the default viewer, but you can open with, and there's viewers. Text edits, hexadecimal registry viewers for registry files, and so on. Or you can extract. You can be careful if you have everything checked, you will extract all files. You can have a bookmark, which is very handy. You can tag stuff, malware, view, and so on. So again, open the parent folder. Again, right-clicking is going to help you out. In this case, I right-clicked on it, and I open it in a quick hex editor. Why would you do this? Well, let's say there's no extension here. It just says product grant information or secret file with no extension. And you can see here I can actually grab the first 4 to 6 bytes here. And we can go to like the file signature database and we can put it in there. So it's a D0 CF CIS-2808 B11A. It's a Microsoft XLS file. And we know that it is the extension. But I just want to show you how you can use this quick little dip in with the hex editor, maybe to figure something out. And of course, you could take the extracted file if it had no extension, and you do the same thing, open it in a hex editor after it's been extracted, and do the same process. Look at the first 4 to 6 bytes and get the file signature and figure out what type of file extension it is so you can view it in the proper file viewer. In this case, this one right here. So this is actually from the evidence drive. So it's right here. It's just a product Microsoft. Now I know again it has the extension, so it already knows it's a Microsoft Excel worksheet. If it did not, I could use that process to determine what type of extension it is and open it in the proper viewer. In this case, maybe this is our evidence. This is our main evidence we want to look for. Maybe this is a confidential document. And we got it, so that's one thing we want to get. So maybe the SQLite database has history of them browsing to a website. And maybe back to the browser tab here, we can see the other stuff. So again, music, pictures, desktop, my stuff. There's a window media viewer here, and so on. And these different docs and PDFs. And these are extracted. You can try using the viewer. I've had some good and bad luck with trying to view stuff within it. I think extracting the evidence and just going to the evidence extraction location. In this case, they're all called FCC. It's just sort by file name here. And we can see here's a bunch of fed FD, there we go, FCC.doc. So, and these are 0 byte size, so there's nothing in those. But the ones that do have information, we can definitely open those in a viewer. And let's say this was a confidential doc. This again could be part of the evidence chain. So we built. You can build the timeline of evidence, like with the both file date timestamps, which we can see from the disk information in the image. You can actually get a snapshot or get a copy of the evidence itself. So in this case, maybe the spreadsheet showing this is, what we think is evidence to be collected. Maybe this is the confidential document. And then you have things like history, file history, deleted files can be searched for. There's one called hacks, so it's a zip file and so on. So maybe this information like this zip file here, might be able to look for that. And we can see when it was downloaded or accessed. We can see maybe where it was accessed from. Again, don't want to tread into the artifacts that are produced by different web browsers. And you'll see that, but this helps build that timeline. It helps trace the evidence back to an image that has been verified as an exact forensic copy of the original image. Now, in this case, the original USB drive, the bootable USB drive, that's got bootable. It's like it has a bootable, looks like Fedora or boot Fedora or Ubuntu on it. So I think it's Ubuntu, a bootable Ubuntu thumb drive. So someone used it to get information. So again, that's all. This you can see, we can sort of use this as a central area to sort of gather these different parts we looked at. File date times, ownerships, and stuff we're going to look at in the future, like browser history, email history. If they have evolution on here, and they do evolution, email. So we see inbox. You can extract inbox. There we go. Actually, look at it in a basic. I just catted it out, so we can actually get email information. Again, email is going to be in the future. But you can see now this DFF offers you this nice way for an open source tool to connect the evidence file that was extracted from a different tool in this case, those E0 files, E01s, so these basic evidence E01 format files from our original evidence thumb drive in this case. So again, that's it. It's a quick tour here, like about 15 minutes is about what I want to be at. So the lab's going to walk you through some real specifics with using DFF, and that's fine. Walk through the lab. Later in the course, you'll either use DFF. This will be a tool you might use for the final project, which is, again, this course has, at least at the time of this recording, this course has projects that will have you extract evidence that you're given and create an actual report. So for 2 cases. So this could be a tool you might be able to use for that task. So again, that's just a quick tour of DFF. Won't go through. You can look at the documentation on your own. Check the wiki page out, and you can go ahead and okay, maybe not. We'll close the tabs there. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and stop, and then we'll conclude our tour of DFF. Thanks.